Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the Brawlers Arena. I am the Wanderer, and today's video is going to look a little bit different because while I was recording, apparently my microphone wasn't hooked up correctly. So this is going to be more of a voiceover and me kind of, I guess, talking through what is going on through everything. So I'm kind of waiting until my deck tech really starts. I did a couple intro takes. But basically, in this video, I decided that I was going to play a Feathered the Redeemed Brawl deck. And here we go, getting started into it. Basically, the gist of the deck is to play Feather, and then play a bunch of spells that can target Feather or other creatures I control, and get those spells back at the end of turn. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I highlighted the... Well, we'll see when it gets up here. So there's all the cards like Infuriate, just everything that targets a creature I control, and it'll return to my hand at the beginning of the next end step. Justicar's Portal is one of the cards that basically it protects him, same as Fight is 1. And if I have something out like a human, then I can save 2 creatures. And then Gideon's Sacrifice was really cool because I was able to target Brutish Taunter. And you'll see as we get into the games that kind of was not the case. The game, there was a mix-up, and I'm going to watch it during this time and figure out that probably I was wrong in it. But Brash Taunter, if you target him with Gideon's Sacrifice when they do a big swing, all that damage gets dealt to Brash Taunter and then immediately gets sent right back to our opponent. And so I thought that was a pretty cool interaction. For some reason, it did not work for me. So we're going to see what happens. Well, I mean, I know what happens. But you guys will get to see what happens, and I'll kind of talk through. I mean, I guess honestly, like, instead of live commentary, I could talk through like what plays I made and what plays I should have made, and we can all kind of jump into that and discuss it together. I don't know if you guys like these kind of videos more, let me know, because I could by all means be doing these types of videos in the future. So I think this is where I wrapped up the deck tech, and we decided to jump into game 1. Alright, so here we are with game 1. I think I decided to keep this hand of 7 just because it had the Chandra and the Cavalcade in it, which is a really powerful interaction. Because the 1/1 tokens basically swing as 2/2s, and then I can pump them inside of combat if I have the right instant spells to deal even more massive amounts of damage. So I think I decided to keep this one for that sole purpose. But we'll kind of see what happens as the game goes. Yeah. So beginning of this turn, kind of standard. I think I made a mention of how I pull my lands up onto the screen as my first turn because it draws the card quicker. And you'll kind of see that as the games go on. I think we were playing up against, I think this was a Heliod life gain deck. But yeah, drawing that Sacred Foundry was great because one of my hesitancies with keeping this hand was the fact that there was not enough white mana to cast Feather, and us drawing that Sacred Foundry just put us well into the range of being able to cast Feather. So of course our opponent starts doing his little stuff to gain his life. Defiant Strike was a good pull there because it would let us draw cards, but I stuck with the plan of Cavalcade into Chandra because worst case scenario we lost Chandra, but we still got in for 4+ damage potentially. Of course our opponent decides to play as Heliod, which I don't like Heliod. But we take the 3, we play our second planes, and then I debated playing Feather here, but playing Feather here, there's no value for it, and if we play Chandra, there's not many turns that Chandra gets full value with Cavalcade, and so because he attacked with all of his creatures, using Chandra helped. Playing Chandra here was the best possible play, I feel, because we got to attack with the 2, deal 4 damage. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did play Feather. Why did I play Feather first? I completely forgot my logic and reasoning behind playing Feather. I thought, for some reason, I guess I thought I played Chandra first. I don't know. Shows how much I remember when I record these videos. I think the optimal play there, I don't think it ends up making a difference in the game, but I think the optimal play there was to play Chandra and get the 4 damage with Cavalcade. And then, oh, that was my reasoning. Because Chandra has 3 loyalty to her, and they would have just automatically killed Chandra had that been the case. I think I decided to block here because I thought that entering the battlefield would have gained life, would have got the 1/1 counter, and that would have been it. But for some reason, I forgot that he gave the Garrison Cat lifelink, so he gets 2 1/1 counters because I decided to block like an idiot. I should have just taken the 1. He would have got the 1 counter, and it would have been fine and dandy. But instead, he gets a 1/1 counter on both his creatures, which, you know, I'm fine with, because Feather flies over the top. So I'm pretty sure this turn, I do play the Chandra. And then I make the 2 1/1s, and I just swing all in. I thought Gird for Battle was an instant. Turns out it's a sorcery. So it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, because I was going to put 2 1/1 counters on the elementals after they attacked. But I just go in, and then I think I barge in one of the tokens, maybe? I think at this point I let him decide his blockers, because if he blocks with the Impassionate Orator, then I can barge in the token that he blocks it with. And yeah, so he blocks there. I barge in that token, making sure to deal the damage to the Impassioned Orator. I almost made a misclick. I almost just clicked done and let damage happen as it was. But I went back and ordered so the Impassioned Orator would die. I barged in that token to kill the Impassioned Orator, so he doesn't have just like token spam with the enchantment he has there. And then we go to the end step, and that's that turn. I think at this point, I think this was the point where I realized, like, I was in the driver's seat. Because, yeah, like, he has the 3/3 there, but I kind of got worried when he played that, actually. This was not the driver's seat moment. Because now just any tokens he makes are 4/4 angels, and we can't really handle 4/4 angels. Because Feather himself isn't 4/4, he's just a 3/4. But I did so I made the tokens here. Basically, he has an engine set up at this point where he can pay 4 to make a 4/4. And we just have 2 1/1s. I don't know why he didn't attack Chandra there. I guess there's not much of a difference. But now we get to barge in. I think I put it on one of the tokens. I might have just put it on Feather and made a comment about how this is, you know, if this were EDH, that would be the better play. But because it's not EDH, it's not the better play. And then also forgot again that Gird for Battle was a sorcery, because I would have put a 1/1 counter on each of the tokens at that point. But, and this was actually a misplay on my part. I put a 1/1 counter on the Swiftblade Vindicator and the Feather. Mistake, because Swiftblade Vindicator attacking as a 1/1 is better with the Cavalcade and then pumping up, versus attacking as a 2/2. But at this point, I knew that we were well in control, because we had the 2/2 with Trample, the 4/5 Feather. I think we had enough to get over everything. I think our opponent concedes a little early here, though, as you'll see, because so he gives his creature lifelink. He swings in with his 3/3 and his 5/5. I think this time he does go at Chandra. Which, yeah, like, I could care less at that point. However, I do know that I just let this happen, because there's no sense in me blocking. Chandra's not vital to me winning. I realized that Bargain was attacking creatures, so I decided not to block. I let Chandra go, and the Swiftblade Vindicator, so he puts his 1/1 counter on his dude that's untapped, which is good. That's the play that he should have made. So he's at 15. I'm kind of calculating in my head. I think I have 13 damage. I don't remember exactly how much I had, but I think I was at 13, which was enough to kill him. before he gained the life and before he put the counter on. But we just go in. So I put the 1/1 counters on both of them. And then I decided to go in for the attack. And I was debating where I wanted to put Defiant Strike. Whether I wanted to put it as an additional 1 over on the Swift Blade, or if I wanted to put it on Feather for the guaranteed. Looking back, putting it on Swift Blade was much better, because Swift Blade has double strike. And so with that being the case, that means that I get 2 instances of the Defiant Strike versus just the 1 that I would get if I put it on Feather. But I may have misplayed that too. Honestly, I don't remember. I think I put everything on Swiftblade Vindicator. Just went all in there. So like, there's enough to kill the creature, trample over for 4, which puts me at 9 damage to him. This puts me... Did I barge in Feather? Please don't tell me I barged in Feather. Please tell me I did this correctly. Please tell me I did this correctly. Okay, cool. So yeah, so now he's 6. Oh, my opponent didn't block. That was what was weird. Because I had 12 plus 5, 17, minus 4 was 13. And like, if he had blocked, he would have survived. And I don't know. I could have swore he blocked. And that was what confused me. But clearly, after going back and looking at the footage, he didn't block. And I don't exactly know why he didn't block. But, you know, maybe... Because I think if he had blocked and he had survived that turn, he would have been able to make a 4/4 Angel and give his stuff lifelink with Heliod. But, you know, that was the decision that he made. And I want to talk a little bit more about that play in general. So you're seeing this image. This is where I get my music from. It's Chill Hop Music. They're a really great like hip hop, lo-fi, like real chill kind of music. So that's going to be the image that you're going to see, because I really don't know what else to put up here right now. And I always want to plug them as much as I can. But the interesting thing about his play there is, like, if he had blocked, he would have survived with like 2 life. Then he could have given his... He could have made a 4/4 Angel. And I think he had enough mana to give his little 3/3 or 4/4 dude lifelink, which would have gained him some life back. He would have had a 4/4 Angel that could have blocked Feather. He could have held back his Heliod from attacking to be able to block the Swiftblade Vindicator. And then, of course, like, Swiftblade Vindicator would have done a great amount of damage. However, then there's that 5/5 Angel. So do I want to attack with Feather into that Angel? And then I think just over time, like, I don't even know what was in his hand. Maybe his hand was bad and he just didn't want to play the game anymore. But I think he could have pulled himself out of that with just as much lifelink as going on. But yeah, you know, you win some, you lose some. And that was one that I won, but I kind of wish the game would have went on a little bit longer. But here is game 2. Alright, game 2. I think I end up keeping this hand. I like it because it has Fight as 1. It has Brash Taunter. I can always cycle away the Go for Blood in case I don't hit land drops, which this game here I don't hit land drops for a long time, and it's kind of frustrating. But I decided that the last time that I played a game and I mulliganed, I ended up losing, and so I wanted to keep this hand of 7 and see what would happen. And so, or maybe I used the free mulligan. I forget you get free mulligans in Brawl. But I think it's like, you know, Go for Blood cycled if I don't hit the land. Play Light Up the Stage turn 3, worst case scenario. And then these go into like turn 5 and 6. Honestly, I should have free mulliganed this hand. But I forgot that there was a free mulligan in Brawl. And so I kind of lost track of that. But we go. We're playing up against a Sir Conrad deck. And Sir Conrad's a tough one to deal with. But this is the match that things kind of got weird and wonky with Gideon sacrificing Brash Taunter. So everything's kind of standard. Luckily we drew that. So instead of cycling for 3rd land, I decided to play her. And then I think next turn we cycle Go for Blood, and then the following turn we Light Up the Stage. And this is where we hit just a stream of like meh land drops. I don't even think we ever hit any, really. But we cycle Go for Blood. And my plan is to cycle Go for Blood, hopefully hit a land, play the Nahiri's Stone Blades, get in for a little bit of chip damage, and I think that's the play that I make, but I don't remember, because I think I just wanted to hold Nahiri's Stone Blades for future plays. So we do actually have a play coming up, I think next turn, that I think is a pretty strong play in this deck, especially with something like Burning Prophet. And even like if we have Feather out, you know, it does really good too. But they swing in. I'm not going to let that die because I know that there's a lot of like reanimate stuff, and him getting a 5/5 this early on does not appeal to me. So I know that if we attack in, then he's going to block with the Child of Night to gain 2 life and draw a card, or gain 1 life and draw a card essentially. So I decided to light up the stage just for full cost here. Ship that straight to the bottom because we're needing lands. We need as many lands as we could possibly get. And so there's land, there's Spontaneous Flight. We're still really, really white shy. And I think my issue this game is I decided to hold Feather back, or decided to not play Feather until I had enough white mana that I could play Feather plus the Fight as One, because that Fight as One, like, I know he's holding kill spells. It's black. There has to be kill spells in there. And we see here he decides to go for the kill spell on Burning Prophet. And I think at this point I'm just kind of like, okay, like, I don't want Burning Prophet to die. So maybe I just let it happen. Maybe no, I do play the Fight as One. Because I figure if I don't play Fight as One now, or do I let it resolve? I do let it resolve. I thought I got a sweet double strike play in with Burning Prophet. I guess maybe that's in another game that happens. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember these games too super well. But this turn we play this land, and I think we play the Heroes. Heroes of the Revel, because it gets us 2 creatures, and of course they have kill spell for the Heroes of the Revel as well. So that's where I'm kind of like glad that I did the plays that I made and didn't play Feather out, because playing Feather out at any of these points, Feather would have been killed, and I would have just been super upset with myself making that kind of a play. So I decided to play the Heroes of the Revel because it gives us 2 creatures, and then if he survives, then we're able to like Nahiri Stoneblade, Fight as One, Spontaneous Flight, which Spontaneous Flight I realized, oh yeah, like I don't get to play that because light up the stage. But we would have had some sweet swings, but of course he has the Obnixilus's Cruelty, I'm remembering now, and he gives the Heroes -5/-5 and exiles it. Which I'm kind of glad I played it in that order and I didn't play the Brash Taunter first, because if I had played the Brash Taunter, then Obnixilus's Cruelty would have killed the Brash Taunter. So this is where I pull the Gideon Sacrifice, and like I'm excited because I have Brash Taunter, I have the Gideon Sacrifice, things are gonna go great. And I guess, I mean, I'm assuming I misclicked somewhere along the line. But, so I have the Gideon Sacrifice. He swings 7 this next turn, and I decide to not block. Why I decided to not block, I have no clue. I should have blocked with the Brash Taunter and just threw some damage at his face. But, you live and you learn. I think this turn here, he brings down a Sir Conrad. And I'm like, not too super worried about it. A little upsetting because like now we're going to take damage when his things die. But I go ahead and pass. And the reason I don't Gideon Sacrifice here is because I know that next turn Sir Conrad is going to come in too, and that's 5 more damage that I'm able to do. And you see here, like I go like I'm going to block the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and then I decide against it for some reason. I don't know why I made that decision. And then, of course, you know, like I'm tampering, like, okay, like what do I do here? How do I make this play? What's the best play? And then eventually I total it up, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take 7. He's going to be incentivized to swing again next turn. Maybe next turn I draw another white source so I can play Feather and then have like the Gideon Sacrifice available like each and every turn following that. But it didn't end up working out that way. I don't draw the white source, and you kind of see the misplay that I made there, because like I should have blocked the Midnight Reaper, deal 3 damage to him. You know, now as Midnight Reaper grows, we draw this, which isn't what we want. I thought about playing it, and then I was like, no, because then I discard my hand. I need the Gideon Sacrifice to target him. And so on this next turn, I think we attack with our 1/1, which, no, we attack with both of them. That's one of the mistakes that I made, is I decided to just go ahead and attack Nahiri Stoneblades on both of them. And then I attack him for 6, which, why I did this, I have no clue. You know, I guess I was trying to get, I don't even know what I was doing. Honestly, at the rate at which I had the 2 creatures, I should have attacked first and seen what he did. And then, if he blocked with Sir Conrad, then throw Fight as 1 and the Nahiri Stoneblades on there. Because I was thinking he would like block and then I'd be able to have him fight. And that's not what happened, because he has to tap in order to fight. And so at this point I'm like, okay, but I still have Gideon Sacrifice. I still have the white mana for it. And I'm going to really detailed watch this play, because I feel like it skips over giving me the opportunity to play. But maybe it just skipped over me being able to block. Yeah, so that resolves. That's fine. And like, I'm so used to like having to click through like, you know, 2 damage. So 2 attackers. He decides to swing in. I pass to blockers. Okay, that's what happened. So normally like you have to do your blockers and then block with 1. And then, or choose no blocks. And then it gives you that opportunity. So I guess it just skips over that section. So yeah, that was a crushing defeat there. I was a little upset with that, because I would have been able to play the Gideon Sacrifice, survive that turn, possibly get Feather out the next turn, hold the Brash Taunter back as a blocker, block the Sir Conrad, maybe play, if I drew a land, play the Heartwarming Redemption. Just there's a lot that could have happened, and I just kind of misread the situation, and I accidentally misclicked and passed through, where I thought that normally it gives you the opportunity to cast something before damage, and it did give me the opportunity, as I'm seeing here. But of course this is me complaining about it, going on and on and on about it, because I should have had the opportunity, which I did. Misclicks happen. This is why I prefer paper Magic over online Magic too, is you don't have the opportunity to misclick in online or in paper Magic. But that was game 2, that was the loss, and we're going on into game 3. Alright, game 3, this is our first opening hand. I think I make the same mistake this game as I did, well, not mistake, but the same like thought process as I did last game, where I was like, oh yeah, like I'm mulligan to 6, I always lose, so I'm gonna keep this 7, not realizing that right there in big bold letters it says free mulligan. But my thought process was I could play Burning Prophet, I could block something with Burning Prophet and play the Will of the All Hunter on it, and then worst case scenario, if I just drew land, then I could play the Heartwarming Redemption to get stuff going. And this is what I was doing at this game, where I'm playing out the land. See how fast that draw was? Like, I just love doing that. When I got Mangara, I was like, okay, like I can't play the Heartwarming Redemption turn 4 like I thought I was going to be able to. It's quick. I love the draws when it's real quick like that. But our opponent's playing Ashiok Mill, and they just had, to me, it seems like they just had like the nuts hand. Like turn 2 Drowning Secrets. I knew they were holding Counterspell here. I 100% knew that they were holding the Counterspell. They go for the Agonizing Remorse here. I'm not able to play Feather next turn. If I'd drawn the Plains, I would have put Feather out there. But instead, I decided to go, I think this is the turn that I make the play. Maybe it's not. I think I'm debating whether to cycle this, and then I decide no, like next turn I'm gonna will the All Hunter and then Raking Claws to give her double strike, which is a sweet play with your Burning Prophet. If you ever have the opportunity to give a Burning Prophet double strike and play more spells on top of it, it's such a fun thing to do. Like I think I did somewhere around like 10 damage in the one turn, and then I think the next turn I spontaneous, or maybe I spontaneous flight this turn. No, no, I know I wouldn't. I didn't do that. I will the All Hunter and Raking Claws to give her basically plus four, and double strike. Maybe I did spontaneous. I don't remember what I did. I just know that I swung for a bunch. Yeah. So I will the All Hunter, target Burning Prophet, get my scry. I'm just digging for a plains here. At this point, I just want the plains so I can do that. Throw that to the bottom because there's no sense in keeping it. I need the white mana for feather. And then I get to Raking Claws, which gives her double strike, and another +1/+1. I don't know why I attacked first. I guess I attacked to see if like maybe they had a kill spell before I played it, but you know. So she gets another +1/+0. She's a 5/5. There's our white source. Hit for 10. And then I think this is where like I just get like the mistake was putting the plains on top because of course this turn he plays Ashiok, I mill 2, he mills me 4 with Ashiok, and it just spirals out of control here. I'm never able to hit the white source. I'm never able to like I can't play Heartwarming Redemption because on the off chance that like you know, I mean, he's a mill deck. I don't want to draw too many excess cards. And also, the Chromatic Lantern going into the graveyard was just, it was the icing on the cake. All those lands that go away, I'm just like, ugh. Like, at this point, you hear me whining and complaining so much. So very much because I'm so distraught. Mill is the one strategy that I don't like playing against. And he definitely... Like, the deck was well constructed. Again, I'm like, because you see I start to put it to the bottom. It's like, I need a white source. I'm like, but I'm not going to be able to draw anything. So let's just leave him on top. That'll incentivize him to do some kind of a mill. Probably should have attacked the Ashiok here and got rid of her. I think that was the biggest mistake that we had. We should have attacked the Ashiok there, got rid of it. Then he would have had to pay all 5 mana to replay Ashiok if he wanted to, which would have still milled us for 6, but it just gets... You see, there's a Sphinx he plays here in a minute. I was wondering about Field of Ruin, or Field of the Dead. Like, why play Field of the Dead? And, like, you see all these basics that he's playing. And so, I was a little triggered by the Field of the Dead because I don't really see a way of him being able to target it. So yeah, I'm like, okay, like maybe next turn we can like Brash Taunter. Nope, there's Lava Coil, which does nothing for us. And honestly, at this point, I probably should have played the Heartwarming Redemption because maybe we could have hit some lands, maybe we could have hit some more spells, and we would have been able to get the Burning Prophet out and about. But clearly, I made the misplay. I didn't play the Heartwarming Redemption like I should have. I had enough cards in library at this point that maybe I could have hit. And honestly, like, you see, I think I mill 6 this turn because I think he plays a blue spell. Because you see, I'm still 36 cards in library there, which is more than enough. But he plays this dude. I mill 2. So this is what I would have got off Heartwarming. I would have got Arcane Signet, which would have been the mana. I don't know what that card is. I think it's... I can't see it. It's a tiny screen with what I'm viewing on my iMovie here. Here we go. We can try to get it zoomed in a little bit. But yeah, and then we mill all that dumb stuff. And then at this point, our opponent just kind of like has us. Like, we're going to Lava Coil that the next turn, which is going to give +1/+0 to the Burning Prophet. At that point, I probably should have attacked Chandra or Ashiok, but I didn't. So here's the Lava Coil, gets the plus. I think I attempt Nahiri Stoneblades and he counters it. Like this was just a tough grindy match, and I don't know that we would have won. I feel like if I would have made more proper plays, then I would have had a better chance at winning. But I don't think I was at my best playing against this one, and so that kind of made things a little more tough. So I go ahead and I attack into him. I think I hear he's Stone Blade in response to damage, which is okay. I think he has the counter spell here, which also mills us for another 3, which is just awful. So we milled 5 off of trying to get an additional 2 damage in. Whereas if we would have waited till the next turn, and at this point I was just like, whatever, lane on top, I'm not going to get it anyway. But if we had waited, so like this turn here, he taps out for this Sphinx that mills 10. And I'm like, oh, okay, nice. And if I would have held back the Nahiri Stoneblade, then I would have been able to get that extra damage through this next turn. I don't remember if I get the next turn. I'm pretty sure I do. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to put this out because there's no chance I'm going to win anything. I'm not going to attack. He's going to mill us for 4. All he has to have is like 2 blue spells, and he's got us for dead. And so there's the Spark Devil on the Drown Secret. Spark Devils enters as the copy. I'm just like, I see it. I concede. I'm done. I'm tired of Mill. I never want to play against Mill again. I never want to do anything with Mill again. And yeah, that was a pretty defeating set of 3 games at that point. Alright, and so then we go into the post-game deck, what I would change, what I would change around. And I kind of tell you my method for how I'm going to do that in the future. I think Feather is going to be one of the first ones we revisit, just because Feather rotates so soon. Unless they release Historic Brawl. And if they release Historic Brawl, I'll be the happiest man alive, and it's going to be great. Because there's so many decks that... There are cards that are in the Historic format that I would love to play, but I can't really play because there's not really an opportunity to play them. But I think if I revisit Feather in the near future before rotation happens, which is like September, I think. September 24th, I think, is when New Zendikar comes out. I think Feather would be the first one that I'm going into. And I think the big changes that I would make, and I'm just going to talk through them. I think I get to them at some point here. Big changes is I would even out my plains and mountains, because plains are just as important, because there's a lot of two white mana symbols, and I think there's only 1 double red, which is Chandra. And then honestly, I'm taking out Chandra Spitfire, and the Cavalcade, because they're the only ones that really help with one another. I don't have any other token production aside from the Heroes of the Revel, which a lot of times I'm going to put Gideon's Sacrifice onto the Heroes of the Revel. I don't know what I would add in, but in the future when I do this, when I do make changes, I'm going to put what I take out in the sideboard and then what I add in off to the other side of the lands, to kind of give you guys an idea of like what I'm making changes to. But the video is going to continue playing for a little bit here in the background, as it took me longer to explain that in video than it is now. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you like videos more like this, where I'm not talking like mid-game and I'm just kind of reviewing the footage and talking through it that way, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like. Likes are how I know that I'm doing what I can do. And in all honesty, subscribe if you like what you're seeing, if you like this kind of content, because I'm going to try to put out a video a week, as I've said before, maybe 2 videos a week, but that's only if like I really just have the extra time. But yeah, right now a video a week, and as of now it's going to be Brawl content, because Brawl is one of my favorite formats to play, because I don't have to have 4 copies of every card in order to play Brawl. But as wild cards, as I get more and more wild cards, I will be playing other formats like Standard and Historic and different things like that. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next week.